Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storme, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorme.com to learn more. And now let's get into today's episode.
This is a little voice memo just to anybody who's considering joining Momentum, Practice Momentum with Brooklyn. I have found it to be hugely supportive to have someone who is a professional and had years and years of experience and understands marketing and understands websites. I've only been doing Momentum as a member for the last 2.5 months, but Brooklyn has taught me things that I did not know were important for my counseling practice. Brooklyn has been really fantastic at getting back to me as soon as she really possibly can. She never likes to leave you hanging, and she's super available, and you can really ask her anything. Nothing's off limits so far as what I've recognized. I'm excited for what's to come. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. So I do feel like really good things are in store. I've only just gotten to the very first part of Momentum, and it's only going up and up. And I'm so happy that it's a 12-month subscription, because it feels like it needs to be that, because she has so many resources and supply and so many resources that you can tap into and use or not use. And I would love to be able to explore them. And it's going to take me more than a couple months to do that. So it's good. I'll get to utilize what's interesting for me and what's going to help for my private practice.
Welcome to another episode. I'm so pleased that you're here. Okay, so I put up, I don't know if you saw it or not, everybody consumes information so differently. It was originally an Instagram post, and it generated, let's just say, a little bit of discussion in the DMs. Not everybody felt very comfortable replying to the actual post. And you might understand why in a minute, because we're going to go over it. So I then went and made kind of like, not a training, but more like I gave people an explanation about the post and what it meant, and broke it all down with examples and things like that, so that anybody who wanted to take it further could. Okay, so I did that. I think 2 people have watched it, but that's totally okay. But I then also went and popped it into Facebook, which is, always tricky, isn't it? Because a carousel never looks so good on Facebook, plus completely different audience on Facebook. My Instagram people tend to be different to my Facebook people, and they all like content in different ways. And then you're here, which means you're probably not even on socials, I guess. So anyway, I'm going to run over it just quickly in case you have seen it. If you haven't, you've just heard where you can go and get all the full stuff. I'll put a link. It's, as I said, it's not a training. It goes for about half an hour, and I go into it in a lot more detail. So there's no opt-in. You don't have to give me an email. You don't have to pay for it. But if you want to listen while you're driving along, you could just hit play and listen as if it was just an audio file or a podcast. So that's there. But I'll go over it quickly and then get into today's episode. So the thing was, I wanted to help people get more bookings from the website. So I made a post saying, stop doing these mistakes. And the first one was, saying that people should book a discovery call on the website. And the reason that we don't want to say that, so you might say on your website, book a discovery call, or it might be book a free 15-minute chat, or do you know what I mean? Some variation of that. We all know what I'm talking about here. Don't do it. The reason why is, there's a few reasons. The first one is, just for context, they're not from mental health industry, right? They're from the coaching industry because they work in the coaching industry, because how that sector operates is unique, right? They've got people that they work with, their clients pay tens of thousands of dollars to work with them. So yeah, they absolutely need to do a call. And people in that world understand it's a sales call. So when you're then putting it on your website to do a free discovery call, your clients are thinking you're going to be selling to them, that they're just going to be pitched at. That's if they know what a discovery call is, right? So that's not going to get you any bookings for it. The other thing, the flip side of that, is people have no idea what it is. You haven't given them any context or framework. And so why would they? Doesn't make sense to them. It's like, it's confusing. And as we know, a confused mind doesn't buy, or in our case, book. A confused mind will never book. And then the third reason why I say don't have them is don't have them unless you understand how to do them. Because there's a process, there's a strategy. It's not just getting on the phone and talking to people and praying that they're going to book in. It's not winging it. There's actually a framework. There's a process you need to take them through. This bit first and this bit in the middle, this bit at the end, all of that kind of stuff. And the thing that I say to my clients as well is if you want it to be bookable, you want people to actually go and book it, I think it's a really great idea to sort of package it up as its own little product. It can still be complimentary, but bundle it up so that it means something, like speak into the result that your clients want and stuff like that. So that's the first one. Don't do it if you don't understand how to do them, because my concern for you is that you'll end up doing free counseling or free therapy or something like that. You're going to feel great. Client's going to feel great. They're not going to book, right? You've lost them and you've wasted your time. The next one is don't say on your website that somebody needs to talk to you to see if they're going to be a good fit for you, for your practice, for your approach, whatever it is. Just don't use the words, you're a good fit, because it's upsetting, it's triggering. Probably elsewhere on your website, you've tried to give the impression that it's a safe space and that they're not going to be judged and all that, yet here you are saying that you're going to assess and see whether or not they're going to fit. So we just don't do it, especially if your client is somebody who's neurodivergent. The reason for that is because it's not really it's not in the DSM, right? It's not in the ICD. It's not a formal diagnosis, but it's called rejection-sensitive dysphoria. There's a lot of research that's been done at the moment, and the research I was looking at yesterday said that a lot of women who have a diagnosis of ADHD received 20,000 criticisms or 20,000 more criticisms as a child than her neurotypical counterparts. And so it affects a part of the brain that's responsible for, pain and fear and all of those kinds of things. So now whenever she feels judged or criticized or something like that, it hurts, but it's not only an emotional hurt. It's because there's like a part of her brain has just been whacked with a stick so many times. It is raw. So she can't, cope with it. Why would you want to do that to your clients? Or should I say to your potential clients? So we don't do it for that reason. We also don't do it for I'll see if I can get the reference, because I know somebody will say, oh, I love that research. Yeah, I'll see if I can get it in my browser or in my search history somewhere. The other thing that we don't want to use it with is trauma. Yeah, anyone who's got trauma, and trauma and anxiety are not necessarily separate things, in psychology and DSM, ICD-10, there's a category of conditions. It's called anxiety. And one of the subcategories is trauma or post-traumatic stress disorder, for example, things like that. So not necessarily two different conditions, but if somebody's had trauma or they're anxious and things like that, probably not, you're not going to get many people wanting to book in because now they've just been triggered by what they've read. So you're not helping them or yourself. So just don't say it, say something else instead. Don't say to people, go away, think about it, blah, 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 blah. It's, they're paying you for your opinion. They're paying you for direction. They're paying you for your recommendations. You're a specialist. Telling your client to go away and think about it and come back if they think they need it is not helping at all. That's you projecting your mindset onto your clients. It's affecting your client because they can't now get the help, and it's affecting your business. So stop doing that one. The next one is to stop saying that your fee is comparable to the out-of-pocket or the gap that a client would normally pay to see a psychologist anyway. This is for counsellors out there. Don't say this because it's not true. It's false and misleading. There have been issues with ACCC and counsellors putting this on their website because it's false advertising. You're breaching code of ethics for both AC and unpack for when you do it. So just don't. Also, energetically, you're kind of getting into the energy of justifying, and that's not a great energy, and your client's going to pick up on that, right? And then they're probably going to end up going and seeing a psychologist. So we don't want them to be experiencing like a justifying energy. It's okay for you to be a counsellor and charge a private fee. That's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. The other thing on the website, don't say, is email me to book your appointment or fill out this form. The reason why is because they got super low conversion rates. Okay, nobody wants to be playing phone tag with you or email tag with you. You will get people fill out the emails and fill out the forms. We see this a lot with Psychology Today. But we also see a lot on Psychology Today that once they've done that, because they're still in need, they're still stressed, they're still, perhaps escalated or, stressed out, they go back into Psychology Today and, look for the next person that can help them. And guess what? If that person's got book online, you're not hearing back from that potential client. You will go to work the next day, you will see that you've received inquiry, you'll get really happy, you'll write and rewrite and proofread and everything, you'll reply because you want to make sure it converts. And you either won't hear back or the client will say, sorry, I've booked in with someone else. And that's why you've just made it hard for them to book. So we want to make it really easy. Like a 3-click booking process is the way to go. Also, don't say sign up to my newsletter or sign up to my mailing list. Again, without training, it's really hard to understand, why and to implement it really well. So just for context, this is all about email marketing. So if you don't understand email marketing, if that's a brand new term to you, I would say don't bother at this stage. If you do understand about email marketing and you've got it all set up behind the scenes with something like MailChimp, or I use Flowdesk, but there's lots out there. You need to have that with your audience and your segments and your tags and your opt-ins and your opt-outs and your workflows and all of those kinds of things. All the automations built in. If you don't have that, don't do it until you do, right? Wouldn't bother. The other thing too is if you do have all of that and you're saying on the website, sign up to get my newsletter, I just want you to be aware that probably no one's going to sign up for more mail in their inbox. You got to give them a reason why, and saying something like sign up for more mental health tips on grief and loss, that's not going to get anybody to sign up. You got to make it compelling, right? It's got to be a good reason for them to sign up. It goes back to that really, it's from the 80s, like the what's in it for me. We've got to give them a little bit of a sense of why. And so anyway, if you don't understand about all of that stuff, just delete it, right? Chances are you're not getting many people signing up anyway if it's just saying sign up to my newsletter or join my list. Another one. So it's not new, but I've seen it more and more over probably the last 2 or 3 months. People saying right at the top of the homepage on their website, first session half price. Don't do it. When you do it, it's attracting probably not the right client for your business. You're probably perhaps getting people who don't really value the service that you're offering. Again, just my sense here, because they've got low conversion rates. If you give somebody a 1 hour session and it's half price, and then you say to them, right, well, let's book in for next week and it's going to be double the cost, do you think they're going to book in? It's going to put pressure on you to try and, convert that. It's going to be hard. Don't do it. All that's going to happen from this is you'll get a lot of people booking in for first sessions, which will make you feel good initially, but not many are going to book in for seconds. So it's not a great practice building strategy. What else was I going to say there? Oh, it's undermining the worth of the service. It's undermining the value of the service. So don't do it. Never underestimate, never undermine your value. Doesn't make any sense, guys. Don't use cliches or flowery language. Common ones are, as you know, my bugbears, saying that you provide safe spaces, that you're walking beside people as they go on their healing journeys through their life transitions, all the things, right? Don't. There's reasons. The first thing is somebody needs to know who you are, who you help, how you help them, right? This, what I just said there, actually tells them nothing. So it's not going to get anybody to stay on your page, let alone go and book in. So we want to fix it. The way to fix it is, as I said, homepage needs to say who you are, who you help, what you help them to do, right? That's the easiest way. The reason why is because with Google, you've got H1, that's like your big heading, and then H2, which is like your subheading. H1 tells Google what that page is all about. So we need to have like a very clear heading. So when you go writing fluffy stuff like that, your page just isn't going to rank, okay? It won't rank on the first page of Google. Your website won't rank on the first page of Google. So you won't get a client, which is kind of defeating the point. Yep, don't say you provide safe spaces where people won't be judged. As I've said so many times, it's redundant. It's like, I don't know, a mechanic doing a roadworthy for you and saying, I guarantee that you'll be able to drive your car out of my shop. Well, yeah, you're doing a roadworthy. Of course, it's going to be able to do that. Or it's like the local deli saying, I guarantee that none of my food will ever be out of date, or something like that. You don't expect the food to be out of date. It's redundant. Somebody on my Instagram said that they disagreed because nobody can provide a safe space because that's a perception that's held in the mind of a client. I don't want to get into it. What I'm saying is just don't say we provide safe spaces. So anyway, that is that. But there are a couple of other tips that I can give you as well that I didn't put in there or in my little audio training. So the audio training goes into all of those in a lot more detail. As I said, I'll pop the link in the show notes for you. And the other things that I wanted to say were just make sure that you've got backlinks. So you've got internal and external backlinks. An internal backlink works just as well as an external one. Internal backlinks are when you refer to other pages with a link, right? So maybe you've got a really awesome blog post and it's something about grief, and you want to link that over to the booking page for grief on your website. See what I'm saying? Or the services page so they can read about grief on the website. That's an example of an internal backlink. An external one is when somebody else includes a link to your website on their website. This is why, collaborations are really helpful. It's why cross referrals are really helpful. That's why your publicity is really helpful. All that kind of stuff. Okay. Really, really helpful. The other thing that I wanted to share with you too was one of the things I see a lot on websites that don't convert really well is they've got photos of people looking depressed, looking down and out, looking, unhappy with life. When you do that, it's kind of like a little bit of a deterrent for a client, because a client is coming with an aspiration of feeling better. They want hope. Swap out those pictures of people looking depressed on your website for ones where people are looking hopeful. And then, of course, we've got the About page. So the About page really just simply needs to be your story. And it's got to be your story not only about why you became a counsellor or a psychologist or a social worker or a play therapist or speech or whatever it is that you do, but it needs to be as it relates to the people that you work with. So I'll give you an example. I'm just going to read mine, if I can bring it up, because it's always helpful to have a little bit of an example, isn't it? All right, so mine says, have you ever not realised how good you had it until you lost it? When I moved my practice out of the big bulk billing medical clinics and started in my own place all by myself, it just never occurred to me that I wouldn't have clients, because for over 20 years before, I'd had an overflow of referrals. But being in the new place meant that it was a case of out of sight, out of mind, as well as politics, that led to exactly 0 bookings. My purple Galaxy calendar was giving me nothing, and there's me sitting in my gorgeous new office crying into my chai latte again, feeling embarrassed, full of doubt, ashamed, and like I just wanted to disappear. I had no idea how to fix it either, which led me to essentially binging free content anywhere and everywhere, and to doing anything that anybody else recommended because I just assumed that they knew better than me. But it only messed things up for me and my business even more by doing that. I didn't realize that those people wanted to help me but didn't actually know what they were doing either. Over time, eventually, bookings did start to come in, but it felt like it was feast or famine. And to be honest, I was getting sick of it. And it was at that point that I just ran out of options. I didn't know what else to do. I seriously started going and getting paid employment. So I started writing a resume. Fast forward, and I was able to turn things around. But because I was figuring it out on my own, it took a lot longer than it needed to. There were a lot of expensive mistakes, a lot of money spent on things like Facebook ads and Google ads that went kind of nowhere. I wasted a lot of time and money on courses and tools and software and, things like that I didn't need or that I just never even used. And to top it all off, I missed out on time with my partner at the time and his 2 children that I loved. Right? I don't have children of my own, as you know, but I love these kids so much. So when I look back, I can see that it was easy to see now what me then really needed. She needed a way of working that had a really easy to implement and dependable strategy that kept her diary going without much effort from her, and that kept money coming into the business and hopefully increasing, okay? She also needed something that was going to help her with her mindset because she had huge money blocks. She didn't want to spend money because she felt like she didn't have any. So me back then was like, I know I need help with my business, but I don't have clients, therefore I don't have money. I need to get the clients first to get the money, and then I'll go and get help. It was like circular logic. And to be honest, it was unnecessary. I could have found the money. I could have done something, right? I wasn't being resourceful. Instead of me being resourceful, I was enrolling myself in my own limiting beliefs, right? Kept me playing small. So that's why I know that version of me absolutely needed someone to say, hey, hang on. Let's look at what's going on here with your money. Plus, I also wanted to do it authentically because I started looking around and there were other places that were helping private practice owners. Like one of them was all like, I don't know, it's like, let's fire up your practice and we're going to pull this lever and pull that lever and yeah. And it was like the way they were talking about their clients was just horrible. And then there was somebody else and she was like, build like a $10 million group practice. I didn't want to do any of that. I couldn't get my own practice with just me. going. So there wasn't anyone that could help me, and none of them were doing any of this other stuff, and none of them were even doing anything that was important to me at this time, which was I was reconnecting with my beliefs that I'd suppressed around manifesting, around law of attraction, around the universe, around source, around, all those things that I was getting a lot of, I was finding them really supportive practices, but there wasn't anybody saying, there is a way that you can use those things if you want to alongside your mindset and the business strategy. There wasn't anybody doing that. And I was in love with that. And I would have really, 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 I know I could have got results quicker had there been something available that fitted all of those things. And so anyway, it was when I was thinking at the end of last year, when I got the diagnosis of the ADDC, or it's also called ADHD-C, and all that kind of stuff. And I was reevaluating, like, what do I want to do? How do I want to work and everything? That's what I did, like this big reflection over, this whole idea of you are your client. And so I went back to where was I when I was just starting my practice, and it all came back to me, and it was really hard to relive it because I just felt so bad for myself. It wasn't inner child work, but it kind of felt like that in a way, even though I was an adult. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to give that version of myself a hug and tell her it's going to be okay. But I knew then that, okay, this is what I need to do. And that is a big part of how and why Practice Momentum was created. So that's what I do now. And it's my only offer. That's it. I got rid of everything else. Well, that's not entirely true. I think I have, I've still got the website wellness check going, and I've still got something similar, but it's for marketing on your socials. I've still got the marketing audit going and the website wellness check going, but mostly it's Practice Momentum. There's a Diploma Counselor Society, but I only open it up once a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, I stripped everything back so that I could focus on my clients. But anyway, that's an example of how you write your personal story. And that's what goes on your about section. So it's got to be something that, your clients can, my clients might not have, had a business that was doing really well and then, change location, and then it was like it tanked and they needed to pick it back up. That might not be their journey, but they can relate to the journey of having to start all over again. They can relate to the journey of starting a business from scratch. They can relate to the sick feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when you refresh your bank account and nothing's come in, when you refresh your Galaxy and there's no new bookings, when, you see the flashing light go on the office phone and you're excited because it's voicemail, and then you listen to it and it's just someone from Officeworks giving you a latest business promotion, right? And how stressed you feel, that they can relate to all of that. So you don't have to write the exact same stuff, but you sharing your about is not about your qualifications. It is about your own journey, right? So, and you don't have to overshare or anything like that. Just don't make it read like a resume that they can't connect with. So, there's some tips that can really help you turn things around with your private practice website. And I just wanted to share that with you. And hopefully it's given you new understanding and insight and stuff like that. The other thing too that can really, really help is having videos on your website. So you can just embed them on YouTube if you've got a little YouTube channel. You don't have to though. You could do them on Loom, or you could do them on Vimeo and just embed them. But I would just take your message using that formula I gave you a moment ago. You just take your little message and speak about that for 1 minute. People don't have a long attention span. They don't want to be watching videos for a long time. So just record like a really short little video of you just explaining your message. Do that. Whack it on the first page. The reason it works is because it's a really fast way to build trust with your audience. And as you know, for us working in private practice, our marketing is rapport first and foremost. It's rapport rapport to build the trust. The trust builds the confidence within a client to then go and take that next step for themselves of booking your call, getting your free download, or going and booking a session, or enrolling in your online program, or joining your whatever it is, right? Your retreat or your workshop or something like that. So I hope that this was all really helpful. This is stuff that we spend time on one-on-one in Momentum because it's so important. Most of your clients are going to come from your website, so it's got to be converting. If you want help with your private practice, you can join Momentum. And I will put the link in the show notes so you can go and have a look at it. It's there for you. The other thing is there's also website wellness checks. So you're most welcome to go and book one of those too if you think that that will be helpful. So you've got both of those tools and resources there to support you. And yeah, of course, me. So if you need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Otherwise, have an awesome Saturday and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.